Her name?
Leonardo Zuniga.
All right. And where are we on this?
Okay,
So-
so
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Council.
he did make a pretty big payment, it looks like, of $1,720 on the 13th. So he is down to a total of $2,759.90, including court costs.
Okay, he told me he was gonna pay 2617. What happened?
I did pay the 2617,
Is that what?
and the current cost is 2,700 for January cost.
What? He paid $1,720.
No, I'm sorry.
You're saying you paid more than that?
Yes, I paid 2,700.
When did
He's
you
saying
pay
you paid
that?
2,000. He's saying you paid 2,700.
When did he pay that?
When did you do it all at once?
Yes, it was a single check, and I deposited on Saturday.
On Saturday.
I have the 13th. That's what I have is the 1720. And that would have been Saturday.
Well, that's about $1,000 difference.
Yeah,
They were
it
talking
It
there.
is.
Big difference.
I
talked to the landlord yesterday, and if I may, I got the total amount owed at this point is 1 second.
They sent you a message saying what it was?
Yes, 1 second. 2,757 with 90 cents.
2,700
57, 90 cents.
Yeah.
is what you owe.
Yes.
Is that what you come to, Council?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, I guess if the bottom line works out, I guess I'm not sure.
Yes, so that's my plan is to get that paid by the 30th.
By the 30th,
Yes.
Council? I'll tell you what I'll do, because nobody's disputing the issue. The total amount owed, you said, Council, is
$757.90.
Mm-hmm.
$57.90.
I agree.
Okay, and you agree with that. So I'm gonna find no tribal issue after hearing. I'm gonna grant a judgment for possession in that amount with the writ to issue the 30th.
Okay.
So I'm gonna extend the time and give you to the end of the month to get it paid.
Appreciate that.
All right?
Thank you so much.
All right, you take care.
Bye.
Your Honor, I will still get that submitted. Do you still want me to email it to Ann even though she's out?
Your name, ma'am?
Janelle Smith.
All right. And where are we on this? This is a termination case.
Correct, Your Honor.
And the basis for the termination is,
Basis of the termination is lease agreement has ended, and also, there's the tenant has been having problems being able to pay for rent, and she has like 2 years worth of rent payment and utilities that has accrued.
so is the lease ended?
I never had a lease with her, and the whole thing was back in September. I had a fire at the house. The fire department came out, and the city ended up saying that the house was uninhabitable, because the toilet fell through. Angela let me stay there for free, but what happened was when the fire department came out and they saw that the toilet was falling through, that the fire was in the wall, her father, which we were on the call last week, got upset about it, and the city came out and said that the house, I couldn't live there. So that's what the situation is with this.
And may I add on to this? We've tried to work with Janelle to try and find a time for maintenance. And we've done a lot of maintenance, and we're actually actively working with the city. But however, because she hasn't been very cooperative, she hasn't really responded to my text on, I asked her, what is her availability? Can I provide contractors to come in? She never really replied back to me, and I have text messages and screenshots to show that case.
First thing is, I guess my first question is the house registered with the city to rent?
So I gave,
Hold on. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Chen?
Yes, we are actively working with the city and we got approval with the city last year. And, everything was, last year or 2 years ago.
Does it have a current valid certificate of compliance?
Not currently. We're
Got
working
it.
with the city to, but because of the repairs that Janelle mentioned, that we need to fix the subflooring on the toilet, that was one of the biggest issue. But because we can't have access to the premise, and my father has been a lot of the.
I don't know who can't, I mean, there are ways of getting access to the premises, even if he disagrees to get access. So I'm not sure
that was not what happened. He came in, he changed the locks. The
who
city,
changed a lot.
her father. The city came out.
When?
This happened in December. I submitted all the paperwork from the city and everything, how he came out.
Yeah, that's fine, but
Came out.
he came,
And he removed my things.
he what?
And he removed my belongings.
May
And the
I
guy,
interject, Your Honor? During that time, this is an emergency situation. We had to have, the boiler is out and we had to have, there was no heat in the house. And this is back in November. And I could give you the specific dates. I've let Janelle know beforehand that my father was going to be on premise. I gave her a 24-hour heads up and let her knew. And she knows that it is like
Ma'am, I'm just gonna stop you. Were the locks changed?
the locks, like my father mentioned that there were no access to the premise. And so, and he
I don't
can't.
know what that means. Did he change the locks?
He did, yes, correct. From my understanding.
Why?
But because he couldn't get in the premise, but he did provide Janelle with the key, the new key.
Did he give you a key?
no, what happened was the police came because he showed up unannounced. I came home. He pushed me out the house. The police came and he changed the locks and they made him take the lock off and put the initial lock back on. That's what happened when the police came.
But we never have access to like we're not able to have access to do any repairs in this case. And he did tell the police that he was going to give the keys to you, right, Janelle?
No, they made him the city guy was in a police and they made him put the original lock back on.
All right. So are you requesting a money judgment in this case?
In this case, I would love to just have a motion to evict the tenant.
Because you requested a money judgment on this case, and there's going to be a huge problem with that. The other question is, yes,
Yes, I did. We request a money judgment because I've always been in contact with Janelle. I always provide a clear payment ledger with her during that time, and all those are forwarded through email.
so, ma'am, did you file this complaint?
My father and I, yes, we filed the complaint.
Okay. And that's David, is your
Correct.
father?
That's right. My father's name is David.
Who owns the property?
I own the property,
Yeah.
but recently we just filed to in a joint ownership on the property.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure recently because he got called out last week. I'm concerned about some of the allegations that are made in here. There was a lease.
Mhm. That lease was
And the lease has expired?
I
Correct.
never, I never
20
had a lease.
No, Janelle, you have a copy.
So
It's
what
back
happened
in
was,
2023. It is in your email.
In 2023, that went through 2024?
Correct. You can refer back to your email, Janelle. This was the
came out
document.
and did an inspection and said that the house
When
was
did they do the inspection?
they came back in September, they came in December, and what they said was
December of,
2025, like December 9th or 10th. And what they said was they were like, everyone needs to be on the same lease. What her father told us was that we all have to say that we're related, everyone, because it was a rooming house. And they said it was an illegal rooming house
oh my God. Are you
because
kidding me?
it's
So,
not zoned for that. And I put that in,
no, I saw that, but so how many people were renting this place?
there were 6.
No,
Is that right, Miss Chen?
no, there isn't that many people. There's right now three other people living there.
Mm,
Yes, yes, it is.
But your certificate was for a single family dwelling, right?
Uh, when I had the certificate, I used to live on premise, and it was like
Oh, but you
yes,
lived
it's
on the
now it's
premises. Okay,
yes.
so that I
Yes.
get.
But then it was, but now because I'm no longer, yes, you're right. We have to be a single family home.
Right, because you're not on the premises. I get
Correct.
that.
Yes.
So when did you leave the premises? Jeez.
So this was like around 2020.
Okay,
that's incorrect. I moved in September of 2019. She did not live there. I lived with 5 other people.
well, I don't, if she says she was residing there, I'm not gonna go back that far. It doesn't really
Yeah,
matter, because at some point she moves out. When she moves out, that's when the character of the premises change, and it has to be something different once she leaves. So whether she was there or not in 19, it's irrelevant, quite frankly, for what I have here. But
And we've been very generous to Janelle. We've let her stay there due to, I know she had a lot of hardships with like, trying to get financial aid and having
ma'am, well, there's one thing in being generous, and there's also another thing in saying you can stay here, but I'm not going to follow the law. That those are very different things, and I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive, but they are very different things. And the question is from the court standpoint, is you're terminating her tenancy. Are there other people still residing in the place?
Yes.
I'm open to terminating everyone's tenancy, but yes,
Well,
there
you can
is,
go ahead and do
they
that.
are.
I'm
work
trying to
with-
figure out, ma'am, why, if I have a group of people living on the premises and or at some point would have been informed by the city that it's a single family dwelling, why I have one
Correct,
case
and-
for one tenant?
you are right. We are, currently, we never changed back to a single family dwelling in which, and the lease has been.
Yeah, but I get that. My question is why is this defendant here, but the others that are there not?
They are, so from they are allowed on the premise.
They being whom? These other tenants?
These other tenants.
What do you mean they're allowed on the premise?
They are, we have permission for them to live there.
From whom?
From me.
No, try this again. The house is supposed to be a single-family dwelling.
Yes,
The
Your Honor.
individuals, as I'm to understand it, are not a single family. You have basically rooms or that are being rented.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have no certificate of compliance.
Not for this year.
Right. And then for whatever the reason, Ms. Smith is brought before the court for a termination of her lease or a termination of her tenancy.
Yes, correct.
And I'm trying to figure out why her and not the others.
The others have consistently, paying me, we have a rent arrangement with the other tenant, and they have been paying.
Okay, so maybe you really need to get an attorney.
Mhm.
Because under the Ipsy City ordinance as well as state law, if you don't have a certificate of compliance, you can't charge rent. So if you're kicking her out because she won't pay rent, you can't do that under the Ipsy City ordinance because she doesn't have to pay rent because you don't have a certificate of compliance.
I understand, and we're working towards the compliance aspect and trying to get.
Okay,
this-
ma'am, I'm gonna let you know this. Here's what I'm gonna do. Because everybody's saying these things and I understand you say you understand, but I don't think you do understand. You guys could be in a whole lot of trouble, especially for the changing of the locks and the moving of her items from a place that she has. Could be in a lot of trouble because you're renting but evicting her and you don't have a certificate of occupancy. And the reason that you're evicting her in great part is because she's not paying her rent, but she's under no obligation if you don't have a certificate of compliance. And so I'm gonna set this for a final settlement conference. Give me a date.
February 10th or
I'll set it, no, that's fine. February 10th, 2026, 9 AM. That is an in-person proceeding. There will be no appearances via Zoom. Everybody's gonna have to be here. They're gonna look me in the eyes and tell me what happened.
All right, thank
Because
you.
I'm not, this something's real wrong here. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court calls the case. People